views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Lyme Light Radio with Katina Macris. This week you'll be hearing from guest host Mara Williams. Mara is one of America's leading experts on tick-borne diseases, a healthcare provider of almost 35 years. Mara is a board-certified adult nurse practitioner, energetic healer, sought-after speaker, and author of Nature's Dirty Needle. Now here's your guest host, Mara Williams.
Hi, this is Mara. Welcome to Lyme Light Radio. Today I'm going to be talking with Dr. Wayne Anderson, who, with a background in education, understands the role of teaching in medical care. Working with grade school students, he saw that diet and environment impacted students' moods and behavior. This sent him back to school for training as a naturopathic doctor. A growing focus on natural healing approaches and clinical practice in Oregon caused him to broaden his assessment and treatment skills, and he earned the designation of physician assistant. For 2 decades, Dr. Anderson practiced in a busy community-based family medical center, treating individuals and families from birth to old age. His emphasis on patients experiencing chronic illness grew. As he became aware of the prevalence of chronic Lyme disease and related conditions, he realized the important part they play in chronic illness. In 2002, Dr. Anderson left family practice to work with Eric Gordon. Now he has a practice with a concentration on chronic illness using tools and experience from both conventional and integrative medicine. At Gordon Medical, with a growing focus on Lyme disease, he has developed a deeper understanding of chronic illness, its treatment, and the frontiers still available as possible solutions. So I am going to stop there and bring you in, Wayne. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Mara. Very happy to be here.
Yes.
And after all those nice accolades on natural healing, I actually would like to focus on antibiotics today.
Oh, okay. in what regard? Is this actual? Go ahead.
Well, I think that in the treatment of Lyme and the co-infections, there are a subset of people, not everybody, but a subset of people that antibiotics are helpful. But they have to be used in a careful way, because we know that antibiotics can be disruptive to the gut and can be a stressor to the system. And we want to avoid the use of antibiotics if at all possible. But again, some of these bacterial infections, patients with these bacterial infections do need antibiotics at some point. So I feel very strongly about preparing the patient so that they will be able to get the most out of those antibiotics and use them for the shortest amount of period possible and have the least amount of side effect from them. So to ensure that, I think there's a number of different things that need to happen that the patient needs to be assessed for, and in preparation for whatever the treatment is, and during those steps of preparation, at the end point of these steps, which I hope we can get through in this 1 hour show, which is a massive topic. That at the end, then the patient, having gone through these steps, then their experience, if they need antibiotics, hopefully they in going through these steps, they won't need the antibiotics, but if they do need the antibiotics, then they'll have the best outcome possible from them.
Yes, and so you're saying that a lot of people actually, if they prepare for antibiotics, some end up not needing them at all. We're
Absolutely.
talking pharmaceutical, right? Right
pharmaceutical.
Now. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, versus the herbal forms of antibiotic.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I see a new patient, always the first thing that I do is I think about their gut. And gut rehabilitation is a primary theme for me. And my patients are unique in that most of my patients have seen, many different practitioners and usually have failed. So when they get to me, I'm kind of the last stop. So those people generally need gut work.
Yes.
They tend to have irritable bowel. They tend to have abdominal pain. They tend to have digestive problems. So I start thinking about their gut in relation to who's living there. So our gut has trillions of good bacteria that the environment of the gut is like the Garden of Eden. It's wonderful for anything to grow. And so and it's that way so that our trillions of good bacteria can live in the small intestine. But that same environment in an immune suppressed patient, and Lyme and the co-infections suppress the immune system, and that allows parasites, yeast, undesirable bacteria to inhabit that space, and they tend to be bullies, and they push out of the way the good bacteria. And so consequently, the balance between these pathogenic gut organisms and the good bacteria starts shifting in a dysbiotic way, or in an imbalance to good bacteria way. So I listen for the signs of parasitic or yeast or bacterial infections, and I'll use various things to deal with those issues first. Once those are worked down, and I feel like there's less pathogenic organisms living in the gut, then I'm going to go for digestive rehab. So I'm going to make sure the stomach has enough acid to break down our food, and the stomach has acid equivalent to your car battery, and it liquefies our food so that as it passes into the small intestine, it's in a liquid form, and then enzymes come from the pancreas and bile from the liver, and that all mixes together. And I want to know that all of those digestive functions are working as well as possible.
So can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
What percentage do you think of new patients that come in and see you are actually on acid blockers as part of their treatment because of all the symptoms they've been having in their GI tract? Their primary put them on an acid blocker.
A very, very good question, and usually about 20%.
Okay.
And those people on acid blockers, like protein pump inhibitors, they actually have too little acid. Right. Not too much. So the too little acid in their stomach doesn't cause the sphincter valve at the esophagus to close tight enough, so the lesser amount of acid spills up into the esophagus, giving them the heartburn sensation. So that protein pump inhibitor for those people actually make the problem worse.
Yes. And then if they have potentially gastric paresis from Bartonella infection on top of that, it just magnifies all the symptoms.
Gives them gastritis, right?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So with somebody like that, would you, before you even looked at what bad bugs might be taking over the small intestine at this point, would you correct that problem first if somebody's been on proton pump inhibitors or other forms of blocking the acid production?
I still think I would go with cleaning up the small intestine first, okay, because there's, particularly in gastroparesis, where many parasitic organisms cause a slowness or a slow motility of the small intestine, and that interferes with the stomach. So if you get a better transit time or movement through the small intestine of the food, then the stomach is more easily rehabbed.
I see.
Now, if somebody's got diarrhea, then I might go quicker to adding a little bit of acid to the stomach. But I never add acid until I've soothed the stomach and built the lining of the mucous membrane. Because if you put acid in a low acid stomach too soon, that stomach lining is atrophied. The lack of acid results in the lining of the stomach to be atrophied, and then if you put acid into that, like betaine HCl, that could actually burn the stomach.
I see.
So we want to use mucolytic herbs like marshmallow, slippery elm, mastic, diglycerized licorice. All of those build that lining up, protecting the muscle so that you can add the acid in without worrying about creating an ulcer from the acid.
That's is that all of those things come in a couple of supplements put out by some very good nutraceutical companies. Do you recommend things like GI repair, or do you prefer to use them all individually?
Well, I'll do the mucolytic herbs like diglycerized licorice first.
Hang on, Wayne. Let me interrupt you right there. We're going to go to break. Sorry to interrupt. We'll touch on this when we come back. So hang on, everybody. We'll be right back.
Encapsulations is committed to producing the most complete line of research-based nutritional supplements, from fish oil to probiotics to multivitamins and more. Available through qualified health professionals and community pharmacists, finished products are pure and hypoallergenic to optimize the long-term health of all patients, even the most sensitive. With Pure Encapsulations, you can rest assured that you're getting the purest and highest quality nutritional supplements available. Ask a qualified healthcare practitioner about Pure Encapsulations today and discover why it's the supplement brand of choice for healthcare professionals worldwide. For more information, please visit www.pureencapsulations.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit ArtieHoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
Clairvoyance, a gift few have.
And even fewer match the powers of one of America's best.
Dr. Linda Salvin. Dr. Linda's uncanny ability drills to the core of your issues to bring you quick and accurate answers and predictions. In more than 2 decades, Dr. Linda has helped over 75,000 people.
On national radio, by phone, in person.
When you need answers, Dr. Linda makes it clear. Book your time with this legendary seer now. Click on lindasalvin.com
or call 888-509-1077.
Tune in to the Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life. Each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a 4th-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hi, this is Mara. We're back with Lyme Light Radio and talking to Wayne Anderson. So I cut you off right in the middle of mucus-supportive supplements to heal the lining of the stomach and the gut, right? It helps with the intestines as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we were talking about marshmallow. DGL Plus has marshmallow, slippery elm. People who like to use capsules, they could do that. I also think just throat coat tea, you can get it at almost any grocery store, I think, has marshmallow, slippery elm, licorice, has a bunch of mucogenic herbs. And so there's lots of places to get that. But we could stay forever in the gut because it is such a complex environment. But I just wanted to say, after you get some digestive rehab going and the patient is digesting their food better, which is the foundation of everything we're doing, then at some point in there is our probiotics. So bringing back in some probiotics, and with these two steps more in place, where the parasites and yeast and bacteria are kicked out, and the digestion is improving, then the probiotics are going to lock in a little bit better and work more efficiently. But I want to move on from there to, once you get this digestive system working, now you want to work on the secondary detox systems. So detox is like a river. The end of the river is the bowel. The middle of the river is the liver, gallbladder, kidney, spleen, and lymphatic system. So those are the organs of detox. And then the beginning of detox is on the cellular level. So with Lyme's happening on the cellular level. And if we kill too much on the cellular level and dump out of that cell into the blood, and we don't have our secondary detox system operating or our end of the detox system, the gut operating, then we're going to have an aggravated response. That patient is going to have a Herx response, and we want to avoid that. So all of these steps we're doing to try to ensure that whatever the treatment the patient does, they're going to have the greatest success. So many people, as you were telling me, exactly correctly, many people want treatment now. They're so sick of being treated or so sick of being sick that they want to rush into treatment, and they want, give me the antibiotic right now, or give me the provoking treatment right now, and then they blow up.
Yeah.
These are the steps that help the patient to tolerate the treatment. Lyme is a composting organism. It thrives on imbalances in the body, and it thrives on a mucked up system.
Well, it helps to create it too, yeah. It helps create that mucked up system.
Helps create it because it needs it. So we want to demuck the system. So now we're demucking on what I call the secondary detox. The primary detox is the gut. The secondary detox is the liver, gallbladder, lymph, all moving into the gut, right? So the liver drains into the gallbladder, which drains into the bowel.
Yep.
So these are the secondary things you need to pay attention to after the gut is better. And the kidney is obviously going through the bladder, but most of the detox of these pathogens, because Lyme and the co-infections are fatty pathogens, the toxin is a fat glob. And our liver is our fat processing factory, and so the liver has the primary responsibility of clearing these things. They don't go through the kidney as much. They're going through the liver and gallbladder to the bowel. So we need to pay attention to the liver, and we need to help the liver's production of bile. So bile, the liver makes a quart of bile a day.
Wow.
And that bile flushes through all the liver ducts, flushes through the gallbladder, and goes into the bowel to clean the bowel. So bile is, you've heard the term toxic bile. Well, bile itself is not toxic. It's actually, it is a binder of the toxins. So in our patients who have stressed out livers, they don't make as much bile. Their bile gets thick and sludgy. And that then clogs up the liver because it's not flowing through the liver ducts as well. And so these sticky, fatty toxins end up sticking in the filter of the liver, and now the liver cannot filter as well. So we want to help the liver, and as we were talking during the commercial, the liver drainage, the organ drainage remedies are great.
Yeah.
And some of them, there's different companies that do it. You can do drainage homeopathically. You can do drainage isopathically. But there's lots of good ways to detox the liver. And the lymph moves into the liver too. So the lymph drips into the bowel. So again, the bowel has to be good, but the lymph also goes through the vascular system and tries to move through the liver also. So if the liver's congested, then the lymph gets congested, and now you've got a toxic patient.
And you're bringing in another system when you're talking about the lymph and the vascular system, because one of the things that can happen is the amount of fibrin in the blood can create a hypercoagulability or easy clotting and thickened blood as well. So you're dealing with both those issues with the lymph, correct?
Absolutely right. So the lymph is like the drainage ditch to the road, the blood being the road, and if you have a hard rain, you want that rain to wash off the road quickly and go into the drainage ditch. Well, the more gunked up the blood is, the lymph tries to clean it. So the lymph channels run parallel to the vascular system to try to collect the stuff out of the blood. Too much in the blood equals the blood starts getting reactive. And that hypercoagulability that you mentioned, that excessive fibrinogen activation into fibrin equals thick, mucky blood. And that that's not helpful.
It makes getting oxygen into your fingertips and your toes more challenging.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. So we want to clean the liver, clean the lymph, help the kidney, and the spleen is the underappreciated organ too. There's nice spleen drainage remedies, both homeopathically and isopathically and herbally. The spleen is our filter of both the lymph system, and it's the recycling of our used up red blood cells. So it's cleaning out the damaged and no longer useful red blood cells, and recycling the materials so that those materials can then be made for new red blood cells. So the spleen is intimately connected with all these organ systems, and interestingly, they're all, or most of them, are just under the diaphragm and are massaged by the diaphragm. So these organs have their own built-in massage therapist, the diaphragm. And many people get a very tight diaphragm because their nervous system is so freaked out, and that diaphragm now is restricted and can't give that massage quality to these organs. So relaxing the diaphragm is another very good idea. Okay, so then we get to the cellular level as we're focusing in this segment on detox.
Oh.
And on the cellular level, methylation probably is the most important thing that we need to be aware of. So methylation.
So I'm going to stop you at methylation because it's a big topic and so many people are interested in it. And I love your analogies, Wayne. You make it so simple for people to hear what it is you're trying to say because of the way you draw in analogies. I just love them. Anyway, we're going to go to break and we'll be right back and we'll talk about methylation next.
All right.
We've already said
Encapsulations is committed to producing the most complete line of research-based nutritional supplements, from fish oil to probiotics to multivitamins and more. Available through qualified health professionals and community pharmacists, finished products are pure and hypoallergenic to optimize the long-term health of all patients, even the most sensitive. With Pure Encapsulations, you can rest assured that you're getting the purest and highest quality nutritional supplements available. Ask a qualified healthcare practitioner about Pure Encapsulations today and discover why it's the supplement brand of choice for healthcare professionals worldwide. For more information, please visit www.pureencapsulations.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Doctor loves quickies.
Mary's about ready to give love the shove, 'cause no matter what she tries, guys don't know that she's alive. To turn guys on, she needs to turn on those green lights, nonverbal cues that say, over here. Most guys won't approach unless they're cleared for landing. So ladies, to kickstart your love life, turn on those green lights and flash your pearly whites. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf of AskDrLove.com.
This is Lynn Brown from the show Winning at the Game of Life. Listen, it's time to enrich your money stories and open your path to all that you desire. We all have limiting beliefs which we accumulate from our life experiences, ancestors, and past lives. These beliefs block our ability to receive the unlimited flow of abundance that the universe is constantly offering to us. Why are we so emotionally caught up on the word money? It's only one of the many forms of abundance. I'm excited to uncover your unique stories and limiting beliefs around money and abundance, as well as give you tools to release them from your space. It's time to invest in yourself. You deserve everything you ever imagined and more. Call me to schedule a reading at 844 letter B Intuit or letter R letter U Intuit.com.
Lynn was very accurate, and she was so clear in explaining everything to me. I highly recommend Lynn to all of you.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, remove your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Speaker, teacher, channel, clairvoyant, Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst who channels a powerful energy from Source to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
We've already said
Hi, and this is Mara. We're back with Lyme Light Radio, and I'm talking with Wayne Anderson. So welcome back, Wayne, and we left off right where you started at methylation.
Well, thanks, Mara. So methylation is a massive subject, and we could talk for weeks on it, but I might just say that methylation happens primarily in two places. It happens in every cell of our bodies except our nail, hair, and bone cells. And it's and in each of those cells, it's rejuvenating the cell. It's creating enzymes that the cell works on, and it's one of our major detoxification pathways. So it's like a little conveyor belt that is processing our waste and getting it into a place that it can be dumped into the garbage dump. Having errors in methylation is kind of like having a big highway, a big 6-lane highway. And when all the factors of methylation are working, there's never a backup on that highway. Even during rush hour, it's fine. The traffic keeps moving. But with errors in methylation, it's kind of the equivalent of lanes closing. So now there's 6 lanes going into 2 lanes. So during heavy traffic time, those 2 lanes create a traffic jam, and it's more likely to have an accident. So by doing the methylation protocol, then it's like opening more lanes up to accommodate increased traffic. And having these infections is the equivalent of rush hour traffic. So we want maximum movement of those waste products out of the cell through methylation. So once they're out of the cell, they're now in the blood, and all that blood is filtered through those secondary detox organs that we talked about, and then down through the bowel and out. So that's the basic detox process, and now we're ready to treat the bug. So if all of that is working fairly well, now we can begin to kill some of these bacteria and start unloading these toxic particles. So we're talking today about Lyme and the co-infections, and that's Babesia, Bartonella, Ehrlichia, and Mycoplasma, and the other rickettsial organisms, and
chlamydia pneumonia.
Chlamydia pneumonia, right? Yeah. There's a lot of them. So so the first step is deciding which is the most dominant pathogen. So the immune system is very smart. Even if it's stressed out, even if it's in a traffic jam, it's going to continue to try to figure out the thing that is challenging it the most, and it will focus its attention on that, and that gives us our symptoms. Our symptoms are not related to the bugs themselves. The symptoms are related to the immune system's inability to deal with those bugs, being blocked. And if it isn't blocked, if it is able to deal with the bugs, then whatever symptoms we have disappear because it's no longer a problem. But if our symptoms increase, then it's because the immune system's unable to overcome that particular problem, and the symptoms increase trying to get our attention, so we pay attention to that and figure out how to help the immune system to do that. So the presentation, the symptomatic presentation, is specific to what the patient is dealing with. So Babesia has its own symptoms. Bartonella has its grouping of symptoms. So we're listening, we're taking a history, and we're trying to discern the pattern. It's all about pattern recognition, discerning the pattern that represents these pathogens and creating a hypothesis. So after sitting with the patient, I decide, I think that this patient is really dealing with a Babesia infection, and there's as a dominant thing, and there's probably some Bartonella symptoms in there, and there's probably some Lyme symptoms, but it's Babesia that has this person primarily is affecting this person. So that is just a hypothesis, and you can do lab tests that can help to marginally, but even if Lyme comes up positive, Babesia comes up positive, sometimes there's false negatives. So
yes. Too many.
Very often. Too many, very often. Yeah. So really, the labs are important to do, I think, but sometimes they're not. They might not be acted upon because you want to listen to the patient and understand the dominant infection for that patient symptomatically. So you create a hypothesis, and then the second step is to challenge that hypothesis. So let's say we think this patient has a dominant Babesia infection with a secondary Bartonella infection and Lyme under that. So healing of these infections happens in layers. You split the primary layer off, and that reveals a secondary layer. And then you split that layer off, and then that reveals a layer under that. And each of these layers will be represented by a symptomatic presentation that's different. So people will change as you treat them, and that change represents the different challenge of that bug to the immune system. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely does. No, you're being very clear.
So the challenge, and this is just my approach. Some people do energy testing, and they try to figure it out that way, and that works very well for some people. There's different machines that can evaluate these bugs, and they can be helpful. But for me, it's about the patient. It's about everything that I can learn in the history and the physical, and taking into consideration all the labs, and then creating this hypothesis, and then challenging the hypothesis with as specific a protocol as possible for that bug. So I'll use something that's highly specific to Babesia. And I'd like something very specific so that I can evaluate that single agent, can evaluate the patient's response to that single agent. So in the early days, I would use homeopathic nosodes. So homeopathic nosodes are homeopathics that are made up of the actual organism itself. It's diluted beyond the point where that organism is still there, and what's the only thing that's left within that solution is the energetic essence of that organism. And when you put that into the body, if the immune system is challenged with that particular organism, then it responds to that energetics of that homeopathic nosode in a way that boosts it up. It activates the immune system and helps the immune system to be more efficient, and that can create an aggravated response.
So do you use these
activation response?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you use nosodes like we'll sometimes use herbals to challenge whether we think that bug is there or not? Would you use a nosode for the same way?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
I'll use a nosode as a challenge agent. Yep. But I primarily use herbal formulas. I like the Byron White formulas because I think they're highly specific and strong enough that you get a specific response. So I might, for this patient, use ABAB, and then increase the dose. And if that person can get up to a relatively high dose with no reaction, then my hypothesis that this is primarily a Babesia problem is wrong. If this person reacts to a low dose of this in a Babesia-like way, having sweats, having brain fog, getting overwhelmed and confused, having heart palpitations, all the symptoms of Babesia, If those come up as the dose goes up, then I'm pretty sure that this is a Babesia patient, and I need now to treat them in a gentler way because I don't want to stir them up too much.
Gotcha.
Back in the old days, I started doing this in the 1990, I think I saw my first Lyme patient, realized that it was Lyme. And back in those days, we thought we just needed to use antibiotics. That these were the worst infections ever, and the only way to treat them was with 2 or 3 antibiotics at double or triple the dose. That these were such awful infections, so difficult to treat, that's just what it took.
Wow.
And even doing that, only a very small percentage of people got better. A lot of people got worse. And back then, I used to think the worse somebody felt, the more I was doing my job. I thought...
Hold that thought for a second, Wayne. We've got to go to break. Okay, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Encapsulations is committed to producing the most complete line of research-based nutritional supplements, from fish oil to probiotics to multivitamins and more. Available through qualified health professionals and community pharmacists, finished products are pure and hypoallergenic to optimize the long-term health of all patients, even the most sensitive. With Pure Encapsulations, you can rest assured that you're getting the purest and highest quality nutritional supplements available. Ask a qualified healthcare practitioner about Pure Encapsulations today and discover why it's the supplement brand of choice for healthcare professionals worldwide. For more information, please visit www.pureencapsulations.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthисfunny.com.
with Lyme Light Radio. This is Mara, and I'm talking to Wayne Anderson. So just as we closed off before break, we were talking about antibiotics. So let's pick up.
So back in those days, the early 90s, that's all we knew. And very few people, maybe 10% of people got better on that approach, but the majority didn't. And then we gradually realized over time that, we weren't just treating Borrelia, we were treating Ehrlichia, came shortly after, and then in 1998, Babesia, we realized was part of the mix, and so we started treating that, but again with pharmaceuticals. And then in 2003 or so, Bartonella came on board, and we realized, oh my God, this is here too. And so with each of those, we began to have better success because it wasn't just about treating Borrelia, it became treating all of these. So now where we've gone is we've gone to realizing that this is not about just treating the bugs, it's about all of the things we talked about in those first segments, the gut, the detox processes, and tuning all of that up and getting people ready for treatment, and then instituting treatment gently. So once we finished off last time with we've made a hypothesis, we've used a challenge, a product that's specific to the bug we think is the one that's affecting the patient the most, and now we are into treating that, and now we can treat with all sorts of different protocols. There's the Brunner herbs, there's the Cowden protocol. There's lots of different protocols out there, and you pick your favorite, you get familiar with it, and so that you can work with it, and by doing that, what you're really doing is you're lessening the load. So your Lyme and the co-infections affect people. The effect that they have is load-related. So these sticky toxins end up inside our cells. They don't destroy the cells. They actually end up in the cell, and they're congesting the cell and compromising the cell's ability to function. So these are functional illnesses. So as we unload with our herbal protocols that we can adjust in relation to the patient's tolerance, and so no longer do we have the feeling that, or the philosophy that the worse the patient feels, the more we're doing our job. We realize now that was absolutely 100% wrong. That when those patients felt worse, that we were actually confusing their immune system more. And it's a healthy immune system, it's an informed immune system that's going to get the job done. So creating chaos with all those antibiotics did not serve the patient. Now, so we're getting around to the point where we're now thinking about the antibiotics. So as we're doing our herbal protocols, some patients, and in my patients it's probably about 40%, I would say, I can get them through all of these stages and not need antibiotics. And I've got the sick to the sick, but there's probably 60% that need a small amount of antibiotics. And if I have done all these steps and I've helped their gut, I've helped their detox system, I've tuned them up in as many ways as I can, as methylation as being a fundamental single way, but there's all sorts of other ways too. And I've unloaded the majority of the bugs, and it hasn't completely resolved their symptoms. Then I think about antibiotics. And for me, at this point, that antibiotic use comes down to maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, with a small break, and then maybe 4 weeks after that for the person that is still hanging on to some of their symptoms. this is a tremendous difference compared to what I told people in the middle 90s. You have to be on high doses of antibiotics for 6 months to a year. Just accept it. This is just the way it is. And we truly believed that. And now that's just not the case. So I do want to mention that there is a subset of people that absolutely need antibiotics, and those are the patients that are newly infected. So if you if you run across a patient that's newly infected, they just got a tick bite and they feel sick, or that tick tested positive, they sent it to somewhere that evaluated the tick for whether or not it has Lyme, then that person needs antibiotics.
So you're talking, at this point, everything you've been talking about is the oral antibiotics, correct? Or are you also thinking IV when you speak about pharmaceutical antibiotics? Yeah,
I'm actually thinking more about IV because I think IVs get in there better, they get to the brain better, they penetrate better, and they're less stressful on the gut. So if I have my way, I don't use oral antibiotics. I go right to the IV. When I have this patient primed and set, and I want to have done all of these steps, and I think this is a patient that really does need antibiotics, and I'm very prudent with that call, but I still make that call, then I'm going to do IV if I can.
Great.
It's just a much, much more effective treatment. Now, not for that newly infected person. That's oral. Yes. That can be dealt with orally. This is just the chronic patient who, again, has gone through all of these different steps.
And you can throw in a little silver with that and a few other goodies that help potentiate the antibiotics and have them actually work a little bit better.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up, because it's not ever about just antibiotics anymore. It's always what can augment or synergize those antibiotics so we can use lesser periods of time, and there's not one size fits all with antibiotics either. I have some patients that do 1/4 or even 1/8 a dose that someone else will do. So the dosing is completely dependent on their tolerance. The old concept in infectious disease, what's a current concept for the typical bacteria where you have to, like pneumonia, where you have to get a drug level up and hold it, that doesn't apply to these slow-growing intracellular infections. You can do low doses in a sensitive patient, and it's fine.
I need to interrupt. I need to wrap up right now, Wayne. I think this conversation could go on for many hours more. If you're interested in contacting Wayne Anderson, check out www.gordonmedical.com. And it has been so wonderful to have you on the show. I love talking to you anyway, and I've missed you, so I'm glad you've been here. And I just want to let the listeners know that on August 12th, I'm going to be interviewing Katina. So with that, I hope you enjoyed our show, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
You've been listening to Lyme Light Radio with Katina Macris. Tune in each Wednesday at 1 Pacific Time, 4 Eastern Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Get ready for some of the most provocative conversation with leaders in health, wellness, spirituality, and human potential. If you've missed any part of this hit radio show, visit Lymelightradio.com. That's Lymelightradio.com. We'll see you next week on Lyme Light Radio with Katina Macris.
Then I go to my